Hey, and we're back once again, bringing you the latest news of all the things pedals. So let's get on with it. This week has been just like an infestation of rats. It really has been. So the biggest one would obviously be the JHS Pat Rack or Pack Rat. I'm guessing the name Rat Pack was probably copyrighted. This is in the same vein as their Bonsai, which was multiple different tube screamers, and the Muffaletta, which was multiple different big muffs. This is multiple different rats. So 9 different rats, and what you want to know is what they are. Okay, so let's go through them. First one, OG, which is the OG. It's the first version of the rat, which dates from about 1978. The next one is the Whiteface, and they call it Whiteface because where the logo is, it was like inverted, so the background was white and the text was black rather than the other way around. That's a V3. The V3 is pretty much the same as the V2 and almost the same as the V1, apart from the tone stack is slightly different, so it's back to front. Then in 89 you had the Turbo V5. So that's, the turbo, that I believe had the LED clipping in it. Then you had the 1997, which was the Brat, which was they've got written down here is the V6, and the Brat was a cheaper version. It was like a budget pedal. Then you've got the Dirty Rat, which came out in 2004. The LA Rat is a take on I think it's one of the Ibanez Rat's clones. The Landgraf is basically a Landgraf who is a company that did all the swirly patterns on their pedals, and he did a nice rat pedal. And then you've got the Caroline, which is something to do with a friend of Josh who made a pedal, and it sounded really nice and he really loved it. And then the JHS mode is their Pack Rat mod that they do to rats. Basically it's a mod that Josh did to his own rat that he gigged for like a decade, he says, and then he modded it himself, and that was the mod that he gave to everyone else. So they're the 9 different settings that you have on it. Really, really, really cool. Now I love rats, I really do, so I want one of these. It's whether it's any good, I don't know, no one's tried one, but I'm sure it will be. I really like the Muffaletta, so I'm sure it will be. Right, the next rat is the Iron Horse. So the Iron Horse from Walrus has been around for quite some time. This is a new version. So what's interesting on this is, firstly, they've moved the jacks from the side to the top. Big bonus. But secondly, you've got 2 different clipping styles. You've got the silicon, which is normal, and the LED, which is like a turbo rat. But instead of putting it on a 2-way switch, they've put it on a blend control. So all the way to the right is LED, all the way to the left is silicon, and you can blend in any sort of variation of the two. That is super cool. Super, super cool. I'm really, really into that. Also, they've done a Halloween version with like a rat skull on it, and it just totally reminds me of the Rat of Death from Discworld. It really does. If you get that, you're brilliant. Right, okay. Then TateFX have brought out their Rodent 308. Now these are limited, and the reason they're limited is Stu over at TateFX is looking everywhere all the time to try and find these LM308 chips. By the way, the Iron Horse has the LM308s in them, apparently. But Stu's looking everywhere, and he's fishing out the ones that are fakes. There's loads of fakes. He's always telling me, I've 50% of these were fakes, and so on and so forth. So, you're not going to get rubbish when you get this. Any of the rubbish ones he's sending back, he's getting rid of. So these are going to be really, really good. Now, price-wise, the TateFX offering is £145. The Walrus Audio offering is €209, so about £200. And the the Pack Rat Muffaletta, I think that's about $250. Yeah, $250 USD. So it goes up in price, but obviously with the Pack Rat you are getting 9 rats. So yeah, swings and roundabouts. I can contest to the TateFX offering because I helped design the Siren Scream a wee bit, and this is a variation of that. So yeah, it's really, really, really good. One of my favourite pedals, actually. Very, very good. Now, I'm trying to be very quick on these. So we've got a new offering from Electro Harmonics. Again, of course we have, it's Electro Harmonics. And we've got the Intelligent Harmony Machine. Now, my first take on this, and I've looked and looked and looked to try and see if it does anything else, is this is basically Electro Harmonics' version of the Boss PS6 Harmoniser. I can't see anything that this does that doesn't. It may be, I know you can do two voices as well as your main voice. I'm not 100% sure whether you can have different voices. If you can have a different harmony on one voice and a different harmony on another, then that's pretty cool because it's kind of set for you on the Boss. But on the Boss pedal you do have an expression in, so you can add more functionality to it. Yeah, so I'm not going to go into too much detail on that. It does pretty much everything the PS6 does, so if you're familiar with that, that's what it does. It does have the, the momentary mode, so you can get the sort of Digitech whammy sort of sounds and your Rage Against the Machine sort of tones, but you can also do lots. It does sound pretty good, but I always found with these type of pedals, the mix control is where it's at. If you turn it all the way up, you can get those sort of like capo sounds, or you can get your drop tuning sounds, or if you never have it at 50% because it just sounds rubbish, always have it maybe like with the effect dialed in at about 25-30%, and then you get a nice harmony sound. But yeah, really interesting to see if there's any more information coming out on that. Now, Joyo have brought out two new pedals. One I'm okay with, one I'm not so okay with. Okay, so the first one is the Joyo King of Kings. Now, this is a take on the King of Tone. You can't get a King of Tone, right? You've got to wait for years and years and years on a waiting list to be able to get one, okay? Mike's great, he really is, and I appreciate all the work that he does. But if you want one of these, you either have to pay not a small amount, they're not very expensive though, and then wait for ages, or you pay through the absolute nose to try and get one, and you're paying up to about £1,000 to get one, and it's just they're great pedals. They sound absolutely fantastic, but they're not that sort of money. So Joyo have made a King of Tone. It's called the King of Kings, and it sells for €75, and you can buy these on places like AliExpress and so on and so forth. Okay, I understand that. They've also released the Dark Flame. Now, I know that that's what Joyo do. They copy other people's stuff. We all know that. It's not like they even hide it. But this is so blatant. Like, the colour of the pedal of the Dark Flame is pretty much identical to that of the Rev G4. This is a one-to-one copy, more or less, of the Rev G4. Look, it's €65. I'm not going to go into loads of detail on it. If you want to know about the pedal, look at the Rev G4, because that's the pedal that you really should be getting. But if you really can't afford it, then this is an option. The King of Kings, what it does do differently than the King of Tone is all the different clipping options for your left and your right channels are on the top, so that's pretty cool. Not the only ones to do this, but it's £75. It's a very good price. Very, very, very good price. Will it have the fidelity of a real King of Tone? No way. Not in a million years. But if you want to get, that sort of tone, if you're one of these people who think, the audience aren't going to know the difference, then, that's for you. Chase Bliss have released an expression pedal. Whee! It's really cool. It's got the roller on top, so as you roll your foot backwards and forwards, it moves the numbers up and down. It's got 2 out, so you can express 2 pedals with it. I think this is aimed at doing their delay and their reverb, and so you can change the settings. And yeah, it's a pretty cool thing. I think this is rather expensive. There are similar sort of things on the market, and this one is coming in at 179 USD. It's really quite expensive. I feel, yeah, it's is what it is. Apparently there's about 250 units ready for sale. But cool. Okay, Supro. Now this is pretty cool. So this is a new effect basically. Yes, it's a flanger, but it's a flanger where you can dial in negative feedback, so that's really cool. It's got some lovely flanging tones, and they've kind of made it so you can get that Doppler effect, like meow sort of sound from it as well. But the killer thing with this is it's got a dimension switch. So if you follow us, you'll know that I really like chorus, and especially like dimension style choruses like the Dimension C. Chorus is a very similar effect to flanger. So what they've done is when you click in the dimension switch, you get twice as many flangers going on. That means that you're getting that dimension-y sort of sound, but with the movement that you get with a flanger. I'm really interested with this. Yeah, it's super cool. 9 volts, takes around 100 milliamps. Yeah, one of the best things to come out this week, I think. This is an absolutely killer bit of kit. And finally, Klon, the KTR. We spoke a few weeks ago about them changing the chips in them because they basically ran out of the magic diodes, not chips, sorry. And yeah, they're going to be ready in about 3 weeks. So going to be at dealers in about 3 weeks. Pretty cool. Yeah, it's worth knowing. Right, so that's this week's news. What I want to know from you is, which of the 3 rats would you get? Would you get any of them? Or would you choose something else? The Harmoniser, what do you reckon? Do you reckon there's anything it's doing that the Boss PS6 hasn't been doing for the last 5 years or 6 years or however long it's been out? Should Joyo really be taking on companies such as Rev that are relatively boutique companies? I know they're not quite boutique, they've grown quite a lot, but should they really be attacking companies like that small, or should they stick to cloning bigger companies? Or more importantly, should they just do their own thing? You know? And then Chase Bliss, what do you reckon of that? You know, that style of expression pedal, is that something that appeals to you, or do you like the rocker like a wah? And that's Supro, there's no question, that's awesome. Like that a lot. Right, have a lovely weekend, we'll catch you next week, see you soon, bye bye.